Hey guys, this is Tyler here with you again, doing a short little few minutes addendum to our professional learning opportunity from last night on Google Calendar. In the secondary session, we didn't quite get to this, so I wanted to make sure that you had at least a quick shot of the information to go from. When you access your Google Calendar, which if you're in your Gmail, up on the right-hand part of your screen, you have your email address, and you have that little cluster, your apps grid. Click on that to see all the Google Apps for Education services you have, and click on the calendar icon. That will open up in a new tab. When you open up for the first time, your default view is set, I believe, to week, which is what this screenshot is showing you. A couple features, I'll show you really quickly, and then I'll actually take you to my calendar and show you. Underneath the red Raytown logo, you have the word calendar, and you have that red create button. The nice thing is that across Google products, that create or that new button is pretty much always there on the top left. So you have a create button. If you click the create button, it will take you directly to an event edit screen where you can put in all of your details, the time, the place, invite people, and so on and so forth. And I'll show you that in a moment. You also have this little quick add section. If you hit this down arrow, it will just pop up a little box. I'll demo that in a minute. The quick add section lets you put in things like dinner with Mike Wednesday 7 p.m. without really going in and putting specific times and things like that. When you put in enough details that Google will know what you're talking about, it's going to assume that the word dinner and 7 is going to mean p.m. You hit enter and it will show up down here on your screen. It's not 100% accurate, but it's not bad if you just need to add something quickly. Another feature is that you have the mini calendar, which is something people seem to like because we need a quick calendar at a glance, even if you're in your week view. You can always close that by clicking the little arrow right here to collapse that. You also have all of your personal calendars displayed. So any calendar that you've made, you'll have your first last name at Raytown Schools calendar. You'll also have any other calendars that you are allowed to manage listed here. Below, you'll have other calendars. So if you are in a building that has maybe a computer lab sign-up calendar or a library calendar or a testing calendar or something like that, you'll have this other calendars area as well. You can change the color of your calendar. You just hover over your calendar and right-click, and you'll get that color choice, so you can change that. I'll show you that in a moment. What you'll notice is that past events are slightly dimmed out, while future events are brighter. That's to help you kind of focus on the future events as opposed to drawing your eye to the past events. You can change that in your settings if you'd like. We're going to watch just a quick little 3-minute video on from Google, part of their training series on creating events in Google Calendar.
A Google Calendar event is a block of time you add to your calendar for meetings, appointments, or occurrences that happen regularly, like anniversaries and milestones. There are several ways to create events in Google Calendar. One method is the Create button. Clicking Create takes you directly to the Events Details screen. The Details screen is where you define the basic information for the event, like its title, the date and time, as well as the location. You can add guests to an event and reserve rooms. When you've added the information for the event, click Save, and it appears on your Google Calendar. If you're using the English version of Google Calendar, you can also use the Quick Add link to create an event. Just click the down arrow next to the Create button. In the Quick Add field, enter some basic information about the event, like a brief title, the date, and time. For example, if you enter Appointment with Dr. Rob at Fenton Medical Center Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. and then press Enter, Google Calendar understands what you entered and creates the event for you. You can also create events by clicking the calendar on the specific date and time of the event. Just add a title for the event. If you need to add more information, click Event Details to add a location and invite guests. When you add an event this way, Calendar sets the length of the event to 30 minutes. You can change this in the calendar settings if you'd like. But if you want to create longer events than the default meeting length, you can also click and drag your mouse to define the time frame for your event. You can also create events using keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts let you create events and navigate Calendar from your keyboard instead of using your mouse. You can bring up a list of shortcuts by pressing Shift plus the question mark key. As you can see from this list, you can create an event by pressing C on your keyboard, or to add an event using Quick Add, press Q. Now those are all the options for creating an event in Calendar, but there is one more way you can quickly create a new event, and that's from Gmail. In Gmail, click Compose and enter your guests in the To field. Enter a subject for the email and click Invitation. An invitation box opens where you can select a time for your meeting. Gmail looks at your guest's Google Calendar and displays their available time. White space means they're available, pink indicates that one or more individuals are unavailable, and green means people are available according to their calendar. Just note that if you invite guests outside of your domain, or if a guest isn't sharing their calendars won't display. With your time set, enter the event's location, any optional details, and click Insert Invitation. The invitation is added to the email. Internal guests and any external guests using Gmail can see the event on their Google Calendars. External guests using other calendar applications may need to manually add the event to their calendars.
All right, so a great overview of some of the general functionalities of how to add events. Lots of questions about sharing your calendar. Sharing your calendar is pretty easy to do. Back on your main calendar screen on the left-hand side underneath My Calendars, you have the name of your calendar, your main calendar. If you hover over it, you'll see a little down arrow. If you click that, by the way, this is where you can change the color. So if you don't like the default color Google picked for you, you can change it. One thing on colors is that you pick one color for every event tied to this calendar. So in Outlook, you could change colors for that one calendar for multiple things, like red might be personal, green was school, something like that. In Google, you pick one color for that entire calendar. Might not be a big deal if you only have one calendar, but as you can see, when you have several calendars displayed, like maybe your favorite sports teams and then some others from work, it can be pretty busy. So you want to pick one color for that calendar. You toggle those calendars on and off just by clicking the colored square, and that will turn them on or off, display them on or off. But you click the down arrow, you click Share this calendar, then you'll get a screen where you can put in the person's name. You can start typing a name and it will auto-find people in our domain, just like everything else does in Google. The other thing that's really important is to check your permission settings. When you're adding a person, it's very important that you know what access you're giving them to your calendar. The most restrictive access is to see only free and busy, to hide your details. So all they would see is a grayed out square during the time of your events that say that you're busy. The next level up would be to see all event details. So lots of times administrators and directors will have their secretaries have all event details so they can see exactly where they are and when. The next level up is to give someone access to make changes to events. You can share this outside your domain. So if you have a spouse or family members that need to be able to see your calendar and put things on your calendar, Sarah's dance recital at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night, you can give them access to do so. The highest level that I really would not recommend for most people is make changes and manage sharing. If you give folks access to that, you're giving them permission to share your calendar with whomever they see fit. So even for spouses and family members, I wouldn't recommend going anything past make changes to events. And even then, you want to make sure that the person you're sharing with understands how to use that application. So I'd like to spend just a couple of minutes now going to the actual calendar tool. Here's that quick add field that you can use. You can also toggle your views up here, day, week, month, 5 days. And let's go into settings quickly. A lot of this you're going to change the same, or you're going to keep the same, your language, US, Central Time Zone. You can adjust the date format if you'd prefer that to be different. You can adjust the time format, military time. You can also do your default event duration. The video said it was set at 30, mine is set for 60. Some other things, you can turn off that dimming of past events if you'd like. You can choose whether or not to show the weekend. Here's where you can change your default view if you don't want week to be the default view. Your custom view can be changed. Your location, whether or not you want to show the weather, things like that. If I go into share, again, here's where I typed the person's name. You're going to leave this stuff the way it is. Everyone in Raytown schools can automatically see if you're free or busy. That's no different than what we had with Exchange. It was set up the same way. So you're going to leave this alone. This is where you would add people if you want. You can see that I have my wife added, and she's able to make changes to events as necessary. If I decide I want to revoke access to my calendar from someone, I just hit the little trash can over here. A couple other things about the event details page before we finish up here is you put in your event. You can check all day. You can put in if it's a repeating event. The location box. If you're using Google Calendar on your mobile device, like on an Android phone, if you put in the specific location, like a specific address, it will actually prompt you it will tell you, you'll get a notification on your phone that it's time to leave in order to be on time. So if I put a specific location in here and I'm supposed to be there at 1 o'clock, it will automatically look at Google Maps, it will look at traffic, it will see where I am, and my mobile phone will actually send me an alert that says, time to head to Northfleet if you want to be there on time for your 1 o'clock appointment. So that's pretty cool. You can also change the event color here if you'd like to. It's defaulted to whatever your calendar color is. And here's where you can add guests. So you start typing someone's name, and it will auto-find the people in our domain. Then you just click Add. You can decide if you want that person to be able to see the guest list or if you want that person to be able to invite others. These defaults pretty much just need to stay the same. Show me as busy. If you're putting an event on there, you want it to show as busy. And your privacy is going to be left to default. Okay? If you start something and decide you want to get rid of it, just discard. One thing that's important, if you're using multiple calendars, like let's say that you have a computer lab calendar, but also you have your personal calendar, if you're trying to reserve something on the computer lab, so maybe I say Mr. Britt's class using fast math, I need to put in my details, and I also need to make sure I'm putting it on the correct calendar. Let's pretend that this one that says technology project actually said computer lab calendar. I need to make sure I put it on this. Otherwise, other folks won't see that I've reserved the lab, and that will cause scheduling problems. So remember, by default, it's going to be your regular first last name calendar, your personal calendar. If you're trying to add something to a calendar that's been shared with you, you've got to make sure that you put it in the right spot. That's a big mistake most people make. Well, I certainly hope that this extra little 15 minutes or so has been helpful to you as it relates to calendar. Again, please feel free to reach out if you have any specific questions. My extension is 2327. My email's with me all the time. We have 2 full-time help desk folks that are ready to help you. You also have that Raytown Google Apps for Education site on the internet, and Raytown or Google's Gmail and calendar sites are also very helpful. So I hope this proved to be helpful to you. Have an excellent rest of your second week and a great Labor Day weekend.